It's that time again. Do you know, at 6 o'clock this morning it was 9 centigrade, 48 Fahrenheit, 94% humidity, 1013 millibars, and I had to look out of the window. It's almost dark still at 6. Used to be light at 4. Look out of the window, quite a wind, I won't say a breeze, a wind. The flag was going mad with a wind from the west, the wild west. It felt really chilly last night. We're going to have to get the dining room fireplace sorted out, because in the fireplace we've got a rubber plant which keeps growing and growing. It's going to end up a tree in the dining room. We've got this other tree-like thing, looks like a palm tree or something. I don't know what it is. That's getting bigger and bigger. And in the actual grate itself, where you light the fire, there's a Christmas cactus, which is doing extremely well in there. It must like the smell of the soot or something, but we've got to clear all that out because it's not going to be too long now before we light the fire. We've got central heating, of course, but it is lovely to have a real coal fire, an open fire. We've collected loads of wood throughout the year, and I must check to see what coal we've got. We've got a little side shed, as we call it, down the garden where we keep coal. I must have a look in there and see what we've got. I hope you're keeping well, been looking after yourselves. Hope it's not too cold where you are. I think I told you, didn't I? Number one daughter went down to Spain for a week. Rain, torrential rain, thunderstorms. It wasn't cold though. We still haven't had a thunderstorm. Everywhere except us has had a thunderstorm. So it must be our little cove here. Well, it's not a cove. There's a slight bay where we are. If you look on the map, a slight bay. And then we've got the South Downs behind us to the north. And it does protect us from the weather. So we're pretty lucky, really. Thank you for all your emails and messages. I still have several to answer. I'm trying to catch up with them all. Lovely to hear from you all. raiserants@protonmail.com if you want to email me. And if you want to look at the website, raiserants.info. Several of you have said that they like the pictures of Amberley. There's me standing at the sort of makeshift, well not makeshift, the pretend post office there with that mannequin type chap. Is it a mannequin? It is, isn't it? He's been standing there for decades, poor chap. But it's a wonderful place though, Amberley Museum. They've been doing a lot of work there. Almost every time we go, they've improved something or added something, so it's really nice. I'm glad you like the photos. Thanks for letting me know. Oh, I nearly forgot. Several of you liked the walk around Amberley when I was doing the recording. Some of you have said you liked to hear Trisha's voice. I must get her in here on the microphone a little more often because she was around in the early days, of course, and she's probably got stories to tell. And of course this, as I keep banging on about, this coming Friday, is it the 13th? Unlucky for some, or is it lucky for some? I'm on the Waverley, the paddle steamer, going from Shoreham Harbour round the Isle of Wight and back. So I will be making some recordings and videos and taking photographs, and I shall bore you all with that next Sunday. It's very autumnal here. That's a word, isn't it? Autumnal. If you can say autumnal, why can't you say winteral? Wintal. Now that wind is getting worse, it really is. Our poor old cherry tree out there is taking a right battering. Just a quick story from the past. I think this was the early 70s, would it be? Yes, more or less. A lady I knew, young woman, I would say girl, she was early 20s, young woman. She got herself a new boyfriend. You know, she was part of our, I was going to say gang, part of our group in the pub. You know, I'm always on about our little group in the pub. She was part of that, and she got herself a new boyfriend. He always wanted to take her away from us at the bar and go and sit at a table, which was fine. But every time he did that, this was over a period of weeks, every time he did that, I could hear him saying, "It'll be great, why don't we live together, let's move in together." He used to go on and on like this, and I could see that she didn't want that. And one evening when I saw her on her own, I said, "Are you okay? Are you going to have him move in with you?" And she said, "Well, I've only known him a couple of months." She said almost from the minute we met, he wanted to move in with me. She liked him a lot, she was saying. She got on really well with him, but he was desperate to move in. And one evening they were sitting at this table together, and I could see he was getting annoyed. He was really becoming annoyed and getting into a bit of a strop with her. And she said to him, "OK, I'll ask my brother." And he was saying, "What do you mean, ask your brother? Why have you got to ask your brother if we can live together?" And she said, "It's his bungalow." Now, she had this lovely bungalow down near the beach. It was hers. She had a mortgage on it. She was buying it. She was doing pretty well. His idea, obviously, was to move in with her, get married. He's got half the bungalow. It was a lovely little bungalow, only a small place on the seafront. I knew that because I dropped her off there a couple of times when she wanted a lift. And he said, "It's your brother's bungalow." He didn't like that at all. He was going on at her saying, "You didn't tell me it wasn't your bungalow. I thought it was yours." He was going on like that. And in the end, he walked out. And she came over and joined us. And she said, "Well, it's obvious what he wanted, wasn't it? He just wanted to get his hands on my bungalow," which was awful. And she said, "Anyone I meet in future, I shall use the same line. Oh, it's my brother's, not mine. My brother lives in Australia. It's his bungalow." She didn't even have a brother, which we all thought funny. But that reminds me of another young lady I knew. She had her own flat, and she didn't want people to know that because they want to move in and they want to go round there and spend the night and all this sort of thing. So any new boyfriend she had who wanted to go in for a coffee when he dropped her off, she'd say, "Yes, OK, come in for a coffee. You'll have to be quiet, though." "Quiet? Why? What are you going to be quiet? Is it the neighbours?" "No, it's my mother. She goes to bed early. She's asleep in her room." And of course, the one or two boyfriends that she did have that went in were creeping about and whispering. They thought her mother was in the other bedroom asleep or something. That's a good ploy, isn't it? The chap she married in the end, he was telling us they were together, and he was saying that this thing about her mother, it had been going on for months and months. And in the end, she said, "It's all right, you can make a noise." And he said, "Oh no, is your mum all right?" He thought she must have passed away. And she said, "My mum's never lived here." Dear, that's quite funny, isn't it? I like that. It's a shame, though. You have to be careful if you're a single young lady with your own property or you're buying your own property. You've got to be a little bit careful because is it common law or something? If a chap moves in and he's with you for a certain period of time, he becomes your common law husband and he has a claim on the property. I mean, don't quote me on that, but I think there is some law or whatever like that. So, you know, if you are a young lady on your own with your property, you've got to be a little bit careful. Back in the old days, more than one of my girlfriends, when we first met, "Where do you live?" they were saying. "Where do you live?" I said, "Well, I was with my parents, you see, at the time." So I'd say, "Oh, I don't live far away." "Yeah, but is it your own place? Have you got your own place?" I can remember two girls that did that. They went on and on. What it was, they wanted to leave home. They were desperate to leave home, didn't have money to get their own place, to rent or buy their own place. So they were looking for a boyfriend that had his own place. That's all it was. It reminds me of that record. Who sang that one? "Girls don't want boys, girls just want cars and money," is it? Girls don't want boys, girls want cars and money. You know the one I mean. That's funny. Or is it girls don't like boys, they just like cars and money? I don't know, whatever it is. No doubt you'll tell me. raiserants@protonmail.com. It's funny looking back as you get older, isn't it? At early relationships, your first few boyfriends, girlfriends. It's strange looking back. I often look back and think perhaps I wasn't very nice to one or two of them. Mind you, one or two of them weren't very nice to me, so all's fair in love and war, as they say. I do remember one chap, one so-called friend of mine. I just met this girl in this club, and he said, "What do you want to go out with him for? He's only got a Ford or whatever it was car I had." He said, "I've got a Volvo estate." And she said, "Well, I want to go out with him, not his car." That shut him up. If I knew then what I know now, that's the old expression, isn't it? If I knew then the things that I know now, I would have come out with some good one-liners. Some of the things that people said to me, honestly, some of the things people did back then would have been nice to have the experience I've got now back in my teens. Do you know, I have a good mind to go and sort that fireplace out and light a coal fire. It really is chilly today. I think it's the wind. It's the chill factor, isn't it? Anyway, how are you? Are you cold? Do you have a coal fire where you live? I call it a coal fire, but of course you can't buy coal these days. We have to have this synthetic stuff. So we're going to have a real synthetic fire. A real synthetic fire. That's daft, isn't it? What should we talk about next Sunday? Any ideas? I've got my ideas book here. In fact, I've now started another ideas book. It's only a little notebook, and I've had to start a second one. Some of the pages are ripped out in the first one. Not that I ripped out your ideas, but when I started using that as my ideas book, it was an old book with pages ripped out. You don't want to know all that, do you? Happy days, stone the crows. I shall have a look through the book and see what I can come up with from your ideas. Do you know, I had plans for this summer, which is now gone because it's the autumn. I had plans to creosote the front fence. Of course, you can't get creosote. It's synthetic creosote now. You can't get the proper stuff. Can't get real coal, can't get real creosote. I should make a list of things that are all synthetic now because you can't get the real thing. I was going to do that. I was going to put some flashing along the patio roof because the rain gets in a little bit at one place. I haven't done that. I was going to paint the bedroom ceiling while the summer's here, have the windows and doors open so I can paint the ceiling. I didn't do that. Somewhere I've got a whole list of jobs that I was going to do this summer. Or a bit of concreting out on the front driveway. I have got this list. I don't think I've ticked any. Oh yes, I did. I did the kitchen, didn't I? I painted all the kitchen ceiling and the walls when we had it retiled. So I've done something this year at least. On one of the sheds, the roof leaks. I haven't done that. I'm going to be in trouble. I must start earning brownie points. As I've always said, don't do today what you can put off till tomorrow. Is that right? Of course it's not right. I'm going to get you into trouble next. You'll be saying, well, Ray said to do that, or not to do that, as the case may be. I shall end it here. I better have a look at the list of jobs. Hope you two boys are okay over there in Seattle with your bagpipes and your drums. Hope you're all okay. Everyone that emails me, I'm not going to list everyone. It'll take me all day. Lovely to hear from you all, though. Love talking to you, as always. And I shall see you on Sunday. Look after yourselves. Take care. Be good. Be bad. Don't get caught. Bye-bye for now.